Hey, how's it going, fight fans? Welcome to mindforcombat. If you're new to the channel, my name's Rohan. It's my platform where I do MMA and box related content. If you're new here, why don't you help me grow my channel? All you have to do is hit the subscribe button, like the video, dislike it, and get involved in the conversation in the comment section below. Anyways, with that said, this is a very interesting video that I'm looking at today. I'm actually going to be taking a look at Ronda Rousey and talking about just how good was Ronda Rousey. Now, with MMA being quiet, it got my mind thinking. I started thinking about all the other subjects around MMA, and one of the key focal points of MMA within the last decade has been the emergence of women's MMA. Now, you can't talk about the growth of women's MMA without talking about Ronda Rousey. The two are just intimately linked throughout the growth of, or the explosion of women's MMA. Even getting women's MMA to the UFC can be put down solely to the shoulders of Ronda Rousey, who kind of pushed and got into the UFC and had those historical moments coming up. Now, one of the things that we got to consider about Ronda Rousey when she came into the game. Now, okay, let me backtrack. Let me organize my thoughts here Firstly, with Ronda Rousey, she gets a lot of hate in the mixed martial arts community, and there's a lot of reasons why she gets the hate. Firstly, there's external factors that wasn't necessarily down to her. It was people like Joe Rogan, who's a very prominent voice in the world of MMA, and Dana White, who was selling her as a once-in-a-lifetime athlete. This is the Muhammad Ali, the Mike Tyson of women's MMA, and that we should be blessed to be able to watch her. When you're pushing out stuff like that to the public gets frustrated. We want to be able to make our own opinion of this person. You don't get to tell us who we think, who is a once-in-a-lifetime, once-in-a-generation time athlete. You don't get to tell us who's special. We will make that decision for ourselves as fans and spectators watching. We will decide that. And I feel like that kind of irked the fans and got fans thinking, well, actually, no, that's not the way it is. You don't get to decide that for us, and that annoyed fans and put them on the back foot. Secondly, it was Ronda Rousey's personality traits. Now, take out her sporting accomplishments. If you just take her as a person, it is very difficult to not recognize that she has some faults. Firstly, taking losses the way that she has made people dislike her. If she could step up to the plate, be a true world champion, come to the press conference, answer the questions like an adult, a warrior. Look at Dominic Cruz when he's lost, Chael Sonnen when he's lost. These are Cyborg. These are great examples of people that have handled losses well, and actually, because they handled losses so well, public sentiment around them has actually been positive despite the loss. There's something about handling yourself like a true champion in a loss that really makes you shine, and I never felt like Ronda Rousey done that, and I feel like that kind of hurt her in her career, and that kind of hurt her in the court of public opinion, and that's another thing. And obviously this goes back to kind of my previous point, but with them force feeding us, telling us how beautiful she was, well, actually some of us were like, no, we'll make that decision. So there's a couple of external factors here that kind of surround public opinion, her personality, her likability, and UFC's pushing her down her throat that made us dislike her. But when you take all of that aside and you look at Ronda Rousey and you just look at her career accomplishments, take her personality trait out of it, and let's look at this objectively, just how good was Ronda Rousey? So first we talk about her pre-professional mixed martial arts career. She won a bronze medal in the Olympic Games. Now that's a huge accomplishment in itself. Not everyone gets to compete in the Olympics. Only a very select few human beings that actually get to compete in the Olympics, and not everyone will achieve what she did. That's a once-in-a-lifetime accomplishment for many people. Many people dream of accomplishing that, and had she never done nothing else, she could have gone to her grave happy that she achieved something at the absolute top pinnacle of judo. And although she wasn't number one, she got a bronze. That is still a very good accomplishment to be proud of. She went on to have an amateur MMA career. She went 3-0 as an amateur, which is very respectable. That doesn't really paint a picture of greatness there, but it gets her set up and just show us some background. And then she moves into mixed martial arts. Her rise up in mixed martial arts was a thing that I really enjoyed watching, because I actually watched Ronda Rousey from the come up from the first fight in Strikeforce days, back when Sarah Kaufman was the champion, Marlos Conan was the champion, Miesha Tate was champion. I was watching Strikeforce, so it was actually very fun for me. Now, you see Ronda Rousey comes up. In just her fourth fight, she's moved down in her debut in the weight division below. She's fighting Miesha Tate for the world title. Now that was interesting, because the public sentiment was like, well, Miesha Tate's going to defend her takedowns, going to defend her armbars, going to smash her in. Miesha Tate was 12-2 at the time, a world champion, decorated. And Ronda Rousey was being sold to us as how great she was. Actually, Ronda Rousey went in there and actually completely dominated Miesha Tate. Miesha Tate had some moments, but Ronda Rousey won that fight. Miesha Tate was a great win. She won a world championship. She had the world looking, and really there hadn't been this kind of interest in women's MMA since Gina Carano and Cyborg. Gina Carano got absolutely smashed. Gina Carano being another young lady that was promoted to us as being beautiful, etc., etc. The public ate it up. She vanished away after she got smashed. Now the attention was on Ronda Rousey. including Dana White's. Now, she starts coming through up in the ranks, and now I'm not going to talk about the stuff about her starting being friends with Dana White and how it kind of started to play out in that way, but then she started to come up in the ranks. She got she got a win over Miesha Tate. She went on to fight Sarah Kaufman, who was 16-1 at the time, had won 3 fights in a row since losing her world title, was another really respected fighter. It was only her 5th professional fight, or 6th professional fight, and she went in and submitted Sarah Kaufman in the first round. That's another really good win. So that's 2 world champions she's got, and a legend now. After that, she came over to the UFC, headlined the first ever UFC card as a woman, and she had officially brought women over to the UFC. She's a pioneer in that, right? So she must be given her respect. She went in there, she fought Liz Carmouche, who was a respected veteran, not the best of the best, but a respected veteran. She had some danger, but she won. She went on to defend her women's world championship on 6 different occasions, which currently still stands as a record, which is pretty impressive. In those wins, she beat the likes of Miesha Tate once again, who also went on to win a world championship after she was gone. She beat Sarah McMahon, who was undefeated at the time, an Olympic silver medalist in wrestling. She beat the likes of Alexis Davis, who's a long-time veteran and has actually beaten Amanda Nunes. She beat Kat Zingano, a woman that for some reason hype always surrounds Kat Zingano. But yeah, Kat Zingano, she also beat her. She also beat other fighters like Betch Correia, and I won't rate her too hard for beating Betch Correia, no disrespect to Betch, but so she has 6 world title defenses of the UFC title. She won the Strikeforce title and defended that title. She beat multiple world champions in Miesha Tate and Sarah Kaufman, 2 world championship fighters right there. She also had a lot of success in just generally overall outside of mixed martial arts, and because she was growing up and blowing up outside within the entertainment industry, that brought a lot of attention to mixed martial arts as well, and she became one of the biggest superstars. So when we're talking about just how good was Ronda Rousey, we're talking about a true world championship pioneer who defended her belt 6 times and beat some really good, credible fighters. Now, here's the difference. Was she the best of the best? Was she the best of all time? Now, without her, I don't think there could have been an explosion in mixed martial arts that there was, but was she the best of all time? No, she wasn't the best of all time. Look, there's loads and loads of great women's fighters. Cyborg comes to mind, Amanda Nunes, who's doing great things right now. All of these great women are about, they beat her in fights, okay? Amanda Nunes handedly beat her. Holly Holm handedly beat her. She wasn't the same fighter going into the Amanda Nunes fight, but Holly Holm handedly beat her. These are things that we must remember and we must recall. So no, she wasn't the best fighter of all time. But when we're erecting a Mount Rushmore, okay, of women's MMA, Ronda Rousey must be included, because without her, there would be no women's MMA in the UFC. Was she the greatest women's fighter of all time? No. Was she the trash can that everyone likes to paint, who just had cherry-picked opponents? No, because there was no division. She was fighting the #1 contenders at the time. There was no one there. The moment the fighter stepped up to the game, yes, she washed out and she wasn't at that caliber. But if you just look at it objectively from her sporting accomplishment standpoint, then she must be respected. She had faults in the character, faults in the personality, and overall, maybe she wasn't the most likable person to the fans. I had no issue with her. And the way she lost her fights and handled that it didn't demonstrate the martial arts attitude that you expect from a world championship mixed martial artist. Maybe she was a bit too competitive, and that really hurt her legacy. Yes, her legacy has been hurt by the 2 losses, and more so by her behaviour and how she's dealt with those 2 losses. Those 2 losses don't bother me as much as the fact that how she's gone and dealt with those 2 losses and how she portrayed herself after those 2 losses. But Ronda Rousey has been very instrumental into the growth of women's mixed martial arts, and I feel like when we're talking about just how good she was a world-class fighter that won world titles, but got ahead of herself and was pushed down our throat too much. An all-time great, not the greatest. That's how good Ronda Rousey was, in my opinion. So, fight fans, I'll be interested to know how you guys feel about this fight, and how you guys feel about Ronda Rousey and her position, in terms of greatness, especially where it comes to women's mixed martial arts. I'll be interested to know you guys' thoughts. So please comment below, like the video if you like it, dislike it if you don't, and let me know what you guys thought of this video. Anyways, guys, remember, as the world of mixed martial arts is quiet, I'm open to taking video ideas, suggestions. Comment below with video suggestions as well. And thank you for watching, guys. I'm Rohan, and this is Mindful Combat.